It was 11:47 at night. Jake Carter sat alone inside his old taxi. The windshield was cracked, the seats were torn, and the fuel gauge was almost empty. He reached into his pocket and counted the money he had left. Just $6.40. If he couldn't pay the rent by morning, he and his 7-year-old daughter would lose their home. Tomorrow, Emily would ask about her school fees, and Jake had no answer. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Just one more ride. That's all I need." At that moment, his phone buzzed. A new booking request. The pickup location made his heart sink. An abandoned warehouse on the edge of the city. Every instinct told him to cancel, but desperation was louder than fear. When he arrived, an elderly man stood quietly in the darkness, leaning on a black cane. He got into the back seat and simply said, "Just drive. I'll tell you where to stop." 20 silent minutes later, they arrived at an abandoned hospital. The old man looked at the building and softly said, "I was a doctor here 20 years ago. They're tearing this place down tomorrow. I just want to see it one last time." Jake helped him inside. In a small room lit only by a candle, the old doctor gently touched an old hospital bed. With tears in his eyes, he whispered, "This is where I saved my very first patient. A little 7-year-old girl everyone believed would die. I stayed beside her all night because I refused to give up." He looked at Jake and smiled. The darkest night is often where the greatest victory begins, if you choose to take one more step. Those words hit Jake harder than anything he'd ever heard. Back in the taxi, the old man handed him an envelope. Inside was $500. But the money wasn't the greatest gift. It was hope. That night, Jake looked at his sleeping daughter and made a promise. "No matter how hard life gets, I will never stop moving forward." 3 years later, Jake owned 3 taxis and built a company that gave struggling drivers a second chance. Whenever people asked him how it all started, he would smile and say, "Sometimes the road you think is ending is actually where your new journey begins."